attempt at a typical vlogger intro. There was no continuity whatsoever, but that's okay. So here we're using the heat gun to heat up the adhesive that's behind the emblems. You don't want to use it too much, especially on this paint. A lot of people have been having problems where they're taking chunks of paint out with it because they heat it too much. So just use it very lightly, only a few seconds. And I didn't really record prying off the emblems too much, so what we did was we used glue guns to get rid of the adhesive. I showed you right there. And then that's like the lawnmower fishing line type of thing that we used. And I showed you like the squeegee and the pry tools we used. All you want to do is try to stick it under there. Don't use too much force, and just start working your way around the emblem, and then just start pulling it off. And once you're starting to get it off, you're gonna want to pull away and not like in one direction, or else you're gonna be scratching the paint and digging into it. If you get what I'm trying to say. So we ended up getting some small scratches and divots in the paint. Nothing too bad at all. So we decided we might as well polish it while the emblem was off. It would be the best opportunity because, I mean, you're not going to be able to get anywhere near as complete of a polish if you're got the emblem in the way. So we might as well get that out of the way while we can. Here we're using a Porter cable, and I show which polish we used in upcoming clip. I'm not the biggest detailer, but my cousin is right there. He's the one who's doing it. He details a decent amount of cars, so he thought that we should just get it out of the way, do this spot, because we're going to eventually do the whole car eventually anyway, so might as well do it now while we have the emblem off. Here you can see we're using Sonak's Perfect Finish. Currently that bottle goes for around 40 to 50 bucks for that tiny little thing. So I didn't really record this, but we used a little bit of silicone. Ours happened to be black to fill in the holes. We just put some on in there, make sure we got a little thick amount in there, but not too much. And then we just used our finger to get the excess off and just wipe it off. Here's a close-up of the logo with the template on to give you an idea of where you want to place the oval. With the left circle is actually an oval and the right circle is actually a circle. You can freeze on there and get a good idea. Here it is after we put it back on. I'm showing you the blackout gloss we did on the gloss vinyl wrap on the reflectors in the rear we did while we were waiting for the silicone to dry. I ended up recording that as well, so we'll have a video coming out on that as well if you need some help with that. We actually removed it and made it a lot easier. Here we're prepping to spray the Stinger logo with some PlastiDip. I'll show you the dip that we use right here. It's just the basic PlastiDip that everyone uses. We decided to spray after the fact because the Stinger logo that we were using didn't come with a backing plate. Like, it was already the adhesive on there, so it was a bad idea to spray directly onto that, we were thinking. So we just went the PlastiDip route. I know that they sell this in like carbon fiber. You can find it for $40. I don't really like the fake carbon fiber look too much, so I thought I'd just dip it black after the fact. That's my puppy over there you heard barking earlier. He was helping out a little bit. This can was actually 2 years old and it still sprayed perfectly fine, so looks good. You want to be using light coats. You don't want to put on too much or it might drip. You're going to get a weird texture. Some other tips is you want to make sure you test spray it before you start spraying so that you can just make sure it's not spitting out or anything and messing it up. We did around 7 coats. You want to get this PlastiDip on there nice and thick so that when you're trying to peel it off after it dries that it actually comes off, or else you're just going to have a big mess that you're going to have to rub off. So make sure you do a decent amount of coats. I'd recommend at least 5, and you can do 7 if you want to be safe. They also have a product called Glossifier if you want a glossy finish. I prefer the matte black look, so I didn't use any of that. Something else you want to keep in mind is that you're going to have to wait for it to dry, but you don't want to wait too long before you start peeling it off, or else you might have a little bit of trouble. You can start taking off the masking while it's kind of wet a little bit. It might make it a little bit easier, but don't let it do it while it's super wet. And here we are starting to peel off the masking that we did around the back of the car to stop with overspray. You can go a lot more than this, but I mean we're gonna wash the car soon anyway, so I didn't mind if there was a little bit of overspray. This stuff is rubber and it just comes off pretty easily. You want to be careful when you're taking off some of this tape because you might, if you pull in the wrong direction, the rubber will come with it and might pull it off more than you'd like. Be careful with that one. What if we just kept it like this? So right here, you're just going to want to grab from the edge and just start pulling away from it. It helps if you grab it, you keep getting your fingers closer and closer as you're pulling away, or else it's going to tear. It's kind of like an art to it a little bit. You'll figure it out once you start working with the material, and you'll understand how the tension works. Obviously, if you grab it closer, it won't tear as easily. So you're just going to want to work your way around the letters, and just, it takes some time, but take it slow, and or else you're just going to have to redo the whole thing. So you just want to just take it slow. So if you're wondering what those toothpicks were when I showed the can earlier, that's to get rid of the excess PlastiDip that's inside of the G, and then underneath, like the center part of the G, the other center part of the G, and then the E as well. The I is actually connected, so you don't need to worry about that. So you just want to take the toothpick, get in there, and just start working away from the edges. It's going to take a little bit of time, but just get it to clump up, and then you can just try to blow on it with your mouth, and it should fall out. Here's the finished product. It turned out pretty damn nice, if I can say so myself. This overlay I got for the steering wheel, we're going to put that on. It's just a sticker, so it's not a big deal. Here is the emblem. I think so, it was like $34 shipping and everything. I got the black trim with the, or the matte black trim with the black back. You're going to want to prep the area by getting some isopropyl. That's what I was using there to just clean off the edges so that when you stick the plastic tool underneath, you're not pushing anything into the paint more than you need to. Just use the heat gun again like you did on the back. Same business up front pretty much. Don't keep it there for too long. You want to attack the front badge the same as the back. Heat it up, put the two trim pieces on underneath it, and just pull outwards. You want to pull to the side, you might get scratches. Right there you can see where we messed up a little bit and got a little bit of scratches. Here's the aftermath of the adhesive that was left. This is probably the most tedious part about this whole process. But if you do get scratches like I did right there, don't worry. There's a way to try to make it better, and you can see later on in how we ended up being able to cover those up. Here I'm using that plastic squeegee again to just try to get this paint to clump up, or the adhesive to clump up more. It's probably not the best idea for the paint, but I was just getting annoyed at that point, so I just went for it. You can use the heat gun here to heat up this adhesive if you want to make it a little bit easier. Just don't keep it in one spot too long as usual. It's just tedious. Once you get most of the big pieces out of the way, you're going to want to use the glue gun. It'll make your life a lot easier. Just dab it onto the cloth, dab it onto the adhesive, let it sit for a few seconds, and just start rubbing it away with the microfiber towel. It'll make it a lot easier to get this stuff off, or else you're going to have no skin left on your thumbs by the time you're done, to be honest. Here's a close-up of the badge. I didn't realize there was a logo on the top of the company, but it's not very noticeable. In all the pictures they have online, you can't even notice that logo is there, so it's kind of BS that they don't really show that they have that on there, but I'm okay with it. It wasn't too bad. I don't think you can really notice it. Here we're using the porter cable on the front again, but the pad ended up being wet because we had washed it. So I ended up spraying and clumping like this, which is not supposed to do, but it's alright. We cleaned this up and did another pass, and it helped a lot with the scratches that were left.
I didn't do shit.
We went a little ghetto with the front badge holes. We just covered up with some electrical tape instead of using the silicone. The badge is going to cover it up with adhesive anyways, so we felt like it was a little bit pointless to wait for it. Pulled the car back a few feet so we could line it up. Thinking about pulling the badge down a little bit more so that we can cover up these chips that we got, but we'll see. Yeah, gonna have to rotate it over. Test fitting. You can use a leveler by putting it on top of the T and the G, which is actually sticks out a little bit, so you can use it to find out if it's flat or not. And also here you can see that you can use the center little piece on the sensor to line it up with the tape if you just pull it up so you can get a better idea. Here we're trying to make some marks with the tape so that we know where we want to place. So how we ended up doing this is we made an outline with the painter's tape and then used the two pieces that were hanging the emblem on to actually just rotate the emblem upwards, pull the 3M sticker off, and just place it down. Here's the finished product. Here's a sticker overlay that I bought for $7 on Etsy on it. Looks good. Matches the GT at the bottom. My bad. Matches the GT badge down here. I think it looks Here's a further back view from outside so you can see the steering wheel sticker with the red interior. I think it meshes really well. Please comment and subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.